Hello everyone! Neverness to Everness, also known as NTE, will officially launch globally on April 29, 2026. And I can say this straight, this is one of the most noteworthy open-world action RPGs this year. The game is developed by Hotta Studio, a team many of you may already know from Tower of Fantasy, and this time they bring a completely new experience, a modern super metropolis called Hethereau, where supernatural elements seep into every street, every building, every subway station. You enter the game as an appraiser, essentially an unlicensed anomaly hunter, working for the Ibon Antique Shop. It sounds normal, but it's actually anything but normal. And in today's video, I'll go straight into what you need the most. The most complete character tier list for version 1.0, what the current meta looks like, who you should pull, who you should skip, and the strongest team comps you can build right from the start of the game. I've spent quite a lot of time researching the community, testing through the beta, and compiling everything, so feel free to sit back and watch until the end. Before getting into the specific list, you need to understand a core system of NTE, the Esper element system. The game has 6 main elements: Anima, Chaos, Cosmos, Incantation, Lakshana, and Psyche. When these elements combine in the correct sequence, they create resonance reactions, called the Esper Cycle, and this is the backbone of every strong team in the game. For example, when you combine Cosmos with Anima, you trigger the Blossom effect, meaning a turret appears automatically and deals additional AoE damage for the whole team. Or when you combine Psyche with Chaos, you get the Nova effect, a massive burst damage that hits enemies instantly. Understanding these reaction chains is essential so you don't waste your pulls on characters that don't fit your team. Now I'll move into the main part, the character tier list. At the S+ tier, the highest level, the true game changers, I place 2 names, Nanally and Daffodil. These are the 2 characters that almost the entire community agrees are the absolute top of version 1.0. Nanally is a main DPS of the Anima element, specializing in melee combat with a very interesting follow-up mechanic. Every time an ally in your team uses a skill, Nanally automatically performs a follow-up attack without requiring additional input. This means Nanally is both easy to play and constantly dealing damage, even while you are controlling another character. On top of that, she has extremely high mobility, wall climbing, terrain traversal with parkour-style movement, making her the #1 choice for all content, from mob clearing to boss fights. The game's first banner is Nanally, running from April 29th to May 13th, 2026. So if you're reading this and haven't pulled yet, this should be your top priority right now. Daffodil is a boss DPS of the Chaos element. Her signature strength is the ability to break the break bar, the white bar above bosses, extremely fast and effectively. When a boss's break bar is shattered, it becomes stunned and takes significantly increased damage for a few seconds. This is the golden window for the entire team to dump damage. Daffodil does this better than any other character in the game right now. Combined with the Nova mechanic when paired with Psyche characters like Fadia or Aurelia, Daffodil can create massive burst damage windows that bosses can barely react to. If you focus on boss fights, this is a must-have character for your team. Next is the S tier, characters that are extremely strong and absolutely worth investing in. Baicang is the first character I want to talk about. He is a DPS of the Incantation element, specializing in damage over time, DOT, and has the highest damage potential in the game if played correctly. Baicang's core skill set revolves around stacking power word and releasing skills at the right moment to create a massive AoE damage domain. However, I'll be honest with you, Baicang is very difficult to play. Not just mechanically complex, but he requires precise HP management, accurate boss state reading, and perfect timing within very tight windows. In the hands of a skilled player, Baicang can match or even surpass S+. But if you are still new, you should think carefully before investing in him. Hathor is a support DPS of the Lakshana element. What makes Hathor special is not just her AoE damage, but also her battery capability, generating energy for teammates and allowing the whole team to use ultimates more frequently. When combined with Zero or Mint to trigger Blossom and Remora chains, Hathor becomes a key piece in high-tempo team compositions. I rate Hathor very highly because she deals damage while also supporting the team. a versatile type of character every game needs. Jiuyuan is a special case that I personally really like. She belongs to the rare group of characters who are both DPS and healer, meaning you don't need to dedicate a separate team slot for a healer if you have Jiuyuan. She fights at range, deals consistent damage, while continuously healing and shielding the team. For melee-focused teams like Nanally or Daffodil, Jiuyuan is the perfect partner to compensate for their lack of defense. That's also why I think Jiuyuan fits into almost any team, even in the early game. Lacrimosa is an off-field DPS of the Chaos element. She deals large AoE damage even when she is not the active character, allowing you to build teams with 2 parallel damage sources running at the same time. However, Lacrimosa is mentioned less often in popular team comps compared to Nanally or Daffodil, so I place her at the lower end of S tier. Fadia is a healer and support of the Psyche element. She is the best healer in the game right now, no debate. Her healing is extremely strong and consistent, and she also has a damage redirect mechanic, transferring part of the damage taken by teammates to herself, as long as she is built with enough HP. Fadia is the backbone of teams that need sustained fights, especially against bosses with heavy and continuous attacks. Now we move to the A tier, characters that are strong but more situational. Adler is an A rank character of the incantation element, and in my opinion, he is the strongest A rank. In fact, in many tier lists, Adler is placed on the same level as S tier. What makes Adler great is his extremely simple but highly effective kit. He provides shields for the entire team, while also applying damage over time to enemies without requiring complex setup. A character that gives value immediately the moment you use him. I especially recommend Adler for beginners because he doesn't require high skill but contributes very solidly to the team. Zero, your main character, is a well-rounded Cosmos DPS. Unlike many other games, Zero in NTE is actually strong and not just a filler unit. Zero is especially effective in overworld combat, when you are exploring the city and fighting normal enemies, thanks to his mechanic that deals increased damage to lower-level enemies. Zero is also an important piece in the Blossom chain when combined with Mint and Jiuyuan. However, in high-end boss teams, Zero is usually replaced by more specialized S-rank DPS units. Mint is an AoE DPS of the Anima element. She is strong at clearing groups of enemies, but her single-target damage is clearly weaker than Nanally. However, Mint is free. You can unlock her just by playing regular content, so she is a solid option for F2P players, especially when you need Anima to activate Blossom. Sakiri is a buffer of the incantation element. She can be useful in the early game when you don't have many S-rank characters, but in the long run, Sakiri is often replaced. I don't recommend investing too many resources into her at the moment. Skia, Edgar, Haniel, Chiz, Hattori, and Aurelia are characters at the lower end of A tier and into B tier. It's not that they are useless, but in version 1.0, they are simply outshined by other options. Edgar is a good F2P healer, but clearly weaker than Fadia. Haniel is a buffer for Psyche Chaos teams, but currently has some issues with her mechanics. Chiz is interesting in terms of gameplay with the grain market system that manages pricing to optimize damage, but her clearing speed is quite inconsistent. Aurelia has strong potential in Nova combos with Daffodil, but requires very specific team setups to shine. So, what does the meta of version 1.0 prioritize? The answer is strong DPS combined with correct elemental reaction chains and a reliable healer. The two elemental pairs dominating the current strategy are Psyche Chaos for Nova and Cosmos Anima for Blossom. The ideal team I recommend for most players is Nanally as the main DPS, Daffodil or Hathor as sub-DPS, Fadia or Jiuyuan as healer, and a flexible fourth slot depending on the element you need to complete the Esper Cycle chain. If you are F2P or playing conservatively, prioritize pulling Nanally right now, while her banner is still available, then save resources for Daffodil. Adler and Mint are very solid A-rank options to fill your team while waiting for S-rank units. And importantly, version 1.0 gives you more than 120 free pulls just by logging in and completing early content, plus gameplay rewards that can go up to more than 470 total pulls, along with one free S-rank character. This is an extremely generous time to start. I want to add one final point. The meta will change. NTE is expected to update roughly every 15 days, and future patches may buff or nerf certain characters, while new characters will shift the balance. The one thing I always recommend is to understand the Esper Cycle system first, because no matter how the meta changes, the foundation of elemental reactions remains the core that doesn't change. When you understand why a team is strong, you will be able to adapt on your own when the game changes, without relying entirely on someone else's tier list. If this video was helpful for you, leave a like so I know I should make more NTE content. And if you have questions about any specific character or want me to go deeper into a particular team comp, drop a comment below. I read them all. See you in the next video.